Hi, it's Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about kind of my rules and my setup for my pantry challenge that I'm going to be doing for the rest of July. And as I've kind of been going through and preparing for this, as you've seen from my last couple of videos, I also might start taking this into August as well. So today I'm just going to be going over kind of what my pantry challenge is, some of the rules that I have, as well as some of the meals that I'm planning on making and some of the meals that I actually have already made since starting kind of to ease my way into this challenge a few weeks in June that I was working on this as well. So for me, how I define my pantry challenge, and what's great about this is that anyone can do it basically however they want. But for me, it's looking like making all of our meals that we're eating at home. So our breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, making them from the food that we already have in our pantry, in our freezer, and in our fridge. So I'm not going out and buying like specific ingredients to make specific meals. Everything that I'm making at home is coming from things that we already have in our backstock. And I like to do this because it helps us to rotate through our food so that it's not being wasted. And I have all this backstock of food because I purchase it in bulk when it is on a good sale so that I'm never paying full price for grocery items. A couple of videos about how I kind of stock up. You can see a haul where I just did stocking up on. I also have a bunch of grocery hauls where if you listen to them, you'll hear me talk about how I bought this for my backstock or to have extra or things like that. So I'll link some of those for you guys to watch as well. And also my last two videos go over what I had at the beginning of my challenge in my freezer and in my pantry and in my fridge as well, just to kind of see what I actually had so that I could make my meal plan and kind of start to figure out what exactly I was going to be doing during this challenge. So another part of this challenge is I want to be buying minimal amounts of groceries. And that kind of starts to go into some of my rules that I've set up for myself for this challenge. For this month, my grocery budget is going to be $250. Normally it's between $400 and $450. Most months lately it's been closer to $450. And so it's definitely, cutting it pretty significantly. And I still need some budget so that I can make sure that I'm buying our fresh produce, our dairy, those kinds of things that I can't really keep long-term very well. So I want to make sure that I had enough for that. And also I knew this month that Prime Day was happening, as well as the deal days at Target and Walmart. And I need to stock up on diapers for my baby. And those usually go on sale during Prime Day. And so I knew I also wanted to have some money that I'm planning on spending about $50 to kind of stock up on some diapers for her. So I'm planning about $200 for regular groceries for the month, and then about $50 for those diapers and baby supplies that I'm going to be getting during Prime Day. Also, I'm planning on just grocery shopping once per week, usually just at one store, maybe two, depending on kind of the deals and things that are happening. For my first week of the month, I did go to a few of my regular stores. So I did go to Smith's, Sam's Club, and Costco, but at each of those places, I was really only purchasing a handful of things, especially at Smith's and Costco. There really was only, I think at Sam's Club, I purchased 4 things, and at Costco, I purchased maybe 5. So it was just a few very small things that were on a really good deal that I wanted to make sure that I had, or they were things that we needed for the month and were part of kind of that minimal, grocery buying. It wasn't to stock up on anything. It was just things that I know that we will be going through this month and we were completely out of, or that we needed. So I'm planning on just grocery shopping once per week. Most of the time it's probably going to be at Smith's, which is my local grocery store, because they have really, really good sales. And the rules that I am trying to follow for my weekly grocery shopping is to purchase my fresh produce and my dairy during those weekly trips if I need it and if it's on sale. Also possibly purchasing any items that are on really, really good sales or really, really good deals if I have the budget for it. But my priorities are going to be milk, fresh produce, and then if I have room left in kind of my weekly budget, then I can kind of stock up on some of those extra things that are on good deals. And like I said, usually I'll be doing this at Smith's. Sometimes I'll be going to Sam's Club, especially if Smith's isn't having a good sale that week, because I can get my milk the cheapest at Sam's Club if it's not on sale at Smith's. And I can also get the best price on bananas and a few other produce items at Sam's Club if Smith's isn't having a good sale. And then the last thing that I am having in my budget is to purchase items to have a birthday party for my husband and my baby. Both of their birthdays are towards the middle and end of the month. And so we're going to be having just like a family birthday party for the both of them together. So there are a few things that I don't have that I need to purchase for the meal that we're making and for the celebration that we're having. So for that, my list is very, very small for it. I need to get a cake mix for my baby's cake that I'm going to be making. I need to get a couple of rotisserie chickens to use for the meal that we'll be making, which will be Hawaiian haystacks. And I could technically use the chicken that I have in my freezer, but I know when we are having their party, we have a lot of other things going on that weekend as well. And so I'm planning ahead for the convenience of purchasing those rotisserie chickens and just pulling the chicken off myself. And then I also will need to purchase some King's Hawaiian rolls to go with our dinner, as well as pineapple and a few other kind of fresh produce items to use as toppings for Hawaiian haystacks. I already have the rice, I have the soups that I need, and the chicken stock to make the gravy. I might purchase some of those things depending on what my budget allows, just to kind of make things a little bit easier. I can make those things from scratch and I do have them on hand. But again, depending on kind of the convenience factor, if I have enough wiggle room in my budget, then I will probably purchase a few more of those like convenience items for their party. So those are kind of my rules that I've set up for myself for what I'm going to be purchasing this month and kind of how I'm going to be going about it. The other thing is I'm going to try to go as long as I can between grocery shopping trips. So this is the first week of July, the first full week of July, and we got back from a trip that we went on over the 4th of July. And so we came home and had a very empty fridge. So I did go and do kind of a decent stock up for this week. And I'm hoping to not have to go back to the grocery store until like the middle of next week. And then after that, I'm hoping not to be able to go to the grocery store again for a couple of weeks. We are going to be out of town for some of the month of July. And so that will also kind of factor into my grocery shopping and kind of what we need and what we don't need. For our trip that we're going on, we're going to be spending time with family, going to a family reunion, and then we're going to be camping. And so some of those things we will have to provide food for ourselves. Some things other people will be providing food for us. And so for our camping portion at least, we will be in charge of all of our own food, and I have all of that food pretty much, I'm pretty sure. I have all of the food that we will need for that trip just here in our house that I've stocked up on previously because I knew we would be going on this trip, and I knew when things were on sale, I bought them and froze them in preparation for going on this trip to try and save as much money as we could. That is kind of my plan for my grocery challenge. And the other part of this is focusing on kind of homemade meals for our breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Some things that I've already made that I kind of started doing after I did my freezer inventory. I kind of have already been doing this challenge for about 3 weeks, at least in terms of cooking things that I already have in my home. And then I'm going to be doing it through the rest of July, and like I mentioned, also probably into August as well, really focusing on using the things that I already have in my house to make most of our meals. Already, I have made ham fried rice and ham roll-ups, which used some leftover ham that I had from Easter that I kept in my freezer. So we made both of those. I also made a double batch of sausage cheese balls, which used up a lot of the sausage that I had in my freezer. It also used up a lot of extra cheese that I had, and it finished up the giant can of the green Parmesan like shaky cheese, which was one of my goals. I wanted to make sure I used up that so that I could start on the next one, so that it wouldn't expire. So I was able to use a lot of that. I also have made chicken enchiladas, which started using up some of that green enchilada sauce, and tortillas that I had a lot of, and use up some of my canned chicken that I have. We just hadn't been eating that very much recently, and so I wanted to make sure that I'm kind of rotating through that. So I also made those. My girls have also been having a lot of smoothies lately to kind of work through the frozen fruit and the apple juice that we have in our fridge and in our freezer. And just this week for dinner, I made a chicken bacon pasta that used up a half box of bow tie pasta that I had in my pantry. It used, again, some canned chicken that I wanted to make sure I got through. I used chicken broth that I had from my pantry, and it also used some of the extra cheese that I had and some bacon crumbles that I had in my fridge that needed to be gone through as well. And then some other things that I have planned for this month are sweet and sour chicken to start working through the chicken that I have in my freezer, and I have a ton of rice, so that's always something that's good to be rotating through. Also, I'm planning on making mac and cheese to, again, work through some of the pasta. That was one of my goals when I did my pantry inventory was to try and come up with more pasta dishes because we have a lot of pasta right now. I want to make sure that I'm going through that and it's not going to go bad. So we have mac and cheese on the menu. Also, I'm going to be doing a sausage hash. We have some chicken sausages that we've had for quite a while in our deep freezer. So I want to make sure I use those. And then we also have some like Southern style hash brown potatoes that I want to make sure we are working through as well. We've had those in our freezer for quite a while, so I want to make sure we use up those. And then, like I mentioned, Hawaiian haystacks for the birthday party. And a lot of those ingredients I already have on hand, so that shouldn't be too difficult to make. And then also I'm planning on doing spaghetti and meatballs, which is one of Lucy's new favorite dinners, to finish up a partial bag of meatballs that I have and to work through, again, some of the tomato products that I have and some of the pasta that I have as well. And then, like I mentioned before, we have a bunch of stuff for camping. So we're going to be doing sandwiches, mostly for lunches. So I have extra lunch meat that I bought when it was on sale and I have frozen. I also have bought cheese slices when those were on sale for a pretty good price. And so I have those ready to go, and that's usually how we do lunches. We have extra bags of chips from earlier camping and trips that we've been on this summer. So those will be kind of what we'll do for lunches. And then for dinners, we're only going for 2 or 3 nights. So most of the time we'll probably just do hot dogs. We might do tacos depending on, again, how much time I have to prepare for that trip. So that's another option. We'd have plenty of meat to make taco meat, and we have tons of tortillas and cheese and sour cream and toppings and stuff. So those would also be easy to do for dinners. And then for breakfasts, we usually do pancakes 1 or 2 mornings, depending on how many days we're there. And then the day that we leave, we usually do a cold breakfast or just do oatmeal packets for me and the girls. So I have all those things. So it shouldn't be too difficult to put that food together for our camping trip. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.